Hey guys, welcome back to the cavern. xBundok here. Today we're finally going to be painting up the swamp witch that I got forever ago. Now, it did take me a hot minute to do the assembly on it. Just did it over with flat black primer because I'm going to do something similar to how we did our zombies. So I'm going to do a wash over top of the black just to give it a mottled kind of feel, because looking at her, I imagine that she just kind of manifests from the waters. You know, she has like all the ribboning going down. So I like, you know, maybe it's not even bone in a face. It's like tree limbs and things that have been pulled up out of the water. So I kind of want it to be a bit mushy. That's the only adjective that could come to mind. So I did pick up, somebody suggested or asked if I was going to test the Vallejo colors. I did pick these two up from our local store. The Vallejos they only really had were oriented towards more of the historical miniature painting. So like the tanks and things like that. So I figured those two would be the ones I could most work in. And my wash, I'm going to use a mixture of a couple of these greens. I can't tell you exactly what I used. I think I used one or two of the Citadels, that moth green there, and then the turf green as well. That was the MSP. And so I just mixed that up with a little bit of wash medium and some water. And we're going to go over the whole figure with that green wash. Okay, so this is how she's looking after that initial wash. So what we're going to do, we're going to go in and get a little bit of highlighting color and add to it to add some tonals. As for detailing, I'll kind of show this a little bit later. This, unfortunately, I don't think this print is going to go on the table. If you remember before, I had said I got it and I didn't know that she was assembly required. Finally put it together, but it's not a stable print. The bottom part is pretty decent, but the actual top with the limbs and the lanterns is very flexible, which I wasn't able to get a whole bunch of detailing done on it, and you'll see that later on too. So here she is after all of the edge highlighting. I went a little bit heavy on the hands too, thinking, if light's getting cast off from the lanterns, it wouldn't be just the edge, it'd be a good deal of it. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to do another wash. I'm going to do a mixture of blues to go over just to get some depth of color, and then we'll do some more highlighting as well. Now I'm curious to see if you guys had her, would you have done her in all greens, or would you have done something a bit more tonal, maybe some grays with accent color, or a bit more shifted? Because there were a couple of different color schemes I was thinking of going through, but eventually settled on the green variety for her. Now for the blue wash, I was going back and forth on whether I wanted to do the wash for more of a shading effect or for more of a coloring effect, and I ended up going with just the coloring. So I have the Army Painter Wizard's Orb, which I bought just because of the name originally. I didn't even need the color. I just wanted it because of the name. So I actually ended up using that Vallejo along with that and the mixing medium. And so we did a blue wash, and once that dried, I went over with that Army Painter Strong Tone that we had gotten in the review for the Fanatic paints that just came out. And so that way I got the blue tonals, so I had a bit of a color shift on her, and then I also had some shading coming through with the strong tone. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go over and paint the lanterns, probably just with the flat gold, not much more than that. I might wash them to make them have a little bit of a tarnish in the future. And then I also added some of the moth green to go over and add extra highlight, similar to the same spaces where we had the edge highlighting before, but then went over with the shading. This actually adds a two-tone highlight for it, and I think it makes it pop just a little bit more. All right, and right here, I'm gonna grab a brush so you can see what I was talking about before with the flexibility of this piece. It's kind of unfortunate. You can see there's little orbs inside the lanterns too. Some of them I got a decent amount of paint on, some I didn't, but just because this one, of course, I go to show you and it's pretty stable. But the second one here, you'll see, even just with a little bit of the brush touch, I mean, it moves. And I was just paranoid the whole time I was working on her. So this is kind of what I'm going to settle with for now until I decide to add something more for depth or shading. I think she's decent, but there's definitely a little bit of work I'd like to do on it in the future. Like, comment if you're interested, if you like the content, or if there's any questions or suggestions you have. Subscribe if you want to come back in the future. I do have the anniversary episode coming up. It will be a repaint of the red dragon, just because that is the head of the vote for right now. So as always, thanks for watching and take care.